Hello, this is Tony Blazier for the Motocross Vault presented by Blinzall. If you're in the market for some high-quality racing oil for your two-stroke or four, make sure you go to blinzall.com and use our discount code VAULT20 to save 20% at checkout. Thank you for all the support. Hello and welcome back to the Motocross Vault. My name is Tony Blazier, and what this video is going to be is just a quick rundown of my thoughts on round 4 of the 2021 Monster Energy AMA Supercross series from Indianapolis. This is the first time we had a new venue this year after having 3 rounds at Houston, and I really loved the event. I thought it was a real fun night from start to finish. The track I thought was much more entertaining, at least for me. For some reason, the Houston track struck me as like the jump seemed smaller, meaning like the trajectory was more like out and instead of up, more like the old Himalayas and Winners Take All, if you know that one. It just seemed like it wasn't giving the guys a lot of pop off a lot of the stuff. The obstacles just looked small to me, and I was thinking, is this a matter of just the TV making it look that way? But then when you see last night's event, saw those big doubles and kind of cool transitions. This is more like what I like in a Supercross track. I thought it was a lot more entertaining to watch. The lap time was a little bit longer. I thought it was a fun track. I mean, I don't know. Obviously, I'm not out there racing. I'm not sure how the racers actually thought, if they liked it better or worse. But I thought it was a lot more fun to watch. I enjoyed it. The whoops seemed kind of tricky. They weren't mostly just jumping through them, but they looked like they were getting kind of kicked. It looked like a technical and fun to ride track to me, and I thought it was much more fun to watch. So, as a guy sitting on the couch at home, that's what's most important to me. A good race, and the track is interesting and fun to watch, and I thought that's what they had at Indy. I think the dirt was a little better, too. A lot of times this event, especially in the wintertime, can be pretty muddy, but it looked like the track was in good shape, so I was kind of surprised at how good the track kind of shaped up. It didn't get crazy ruddy or anything. It was obviously technical, but it wasn't to the point where guys were cartwheeling because of ruts, dragging their foot pegs and what have you. So I think it was a good night of racing overall, pretty much. In the 450 class, you had a really great race between Adam and Eli and Kenny. I'm super happy to see Kenny get the win. Over the years, when Kenny was coming up against Dunge, I was more of a Dunge guy, but I like Kenny a lot. I love his attitude. He's a lot of fun. I didn't really love his whining about the Red Cross flag a couple of weeks ago, but in general, I like Kenny. I'm definitely a Ken Roczen fan, and especially after the last couple of years after he had that terrible arm injury, I've definitely been more in the Roczen camp, and I was happy to see him win. And I really hope this is his year. I mean, the guy obviously is a multi-time champ. He's won two outdoor titles at this point, and of course in the GPs he's very successful as well. But has never been able to really keep it together in a Supercross season. A lot of times he's the fastest guy, many years, particularly early on in his career. But things always would go. He'd have some terrible crash, or in the last couple of years, he just had that weird fade situation coming on. Whatever it is, maybe lingering effects of that arm injury or whatever happened there, Lyme, who knows. But in any case, it hasn't come together. I hope this is Kenny's year. I would love to see him take the title. Honda, gosh, I don't think they've won a Supercross title since Ricky Carmichael. So it would definitely be good for Honda to have that win as well. I'm hoping it's his year. It would be, I think, a very, very popular win if Kenny takes it home for many, many reasons. I think a lot of people love Kenny Roczen. He's a great ambassador for the sport, so it would be good for him to finally get it. Eli, he was racy last night. He was up front early, fell, lost the front end there, got back in front when Kenny went off the track, jumped off the track, one of those big doubles I was talking about earlier. And then Kenny made an awesome aggressive pass on him, kind of cut underneath him. And Eli, in the podium interview said, he just didn't expect that, and it was really surprised by the move. And I got to be honest, I have never been that much of a Tomac fan because I just don't really connect with his attitude, and it's just a personality thing. I think he was probably the same reason I was much more of a Bradshaw fan than a Stanton fan. That kind of, I don't want to say somber, but serious attitude that they have. It's hard, at least for me as a fan, to connect as much with them and get excited for them when they win and whatever, when they seem like so bleh. And I was really shocked at how magnanimous he was in defeat last night. It was actually maybe the best interview I've ever seen him do. He seemed like he wasn't hating his life. He was like having a good time. He enjoyed the race with Kenny. It was kind of weird. I was like, where's this guy been? It's kind of like, to me, the same way with Villapoto. I never was a huge RV fan. I had a hard time connecting with him, with his public persona while he was racing. But now, I love the guy. He's so fun after retirement. He's this totally different person. And I think if he had been that way when he was racing, I would have had a lot more connection to him. And I think Eli's the same way. Eli's, he's very serious, takes it very serious. And to me, at least, it's not as easy to get invested in his wins and losses and what have you when you're like that. When he's a little more human, a little more outgoing, a little more normal, I think it's easier to connect with him. And he seemed really approachable last night. I felt that he really showed a different side of him on the podium, and I loved it. I hope it continues to happen. I don't know if maybe winning that Supercross title last year liberated him, a little bit to be not quite so serious. Maybe becoming a father changed. I mean, when I had my kids, it definitely changed me as a person in a way that until you have a child, I don't think you really can get your mind wrapped around. Everybody says it, but you're like, yeah, whatever. But once you hold that baby, it definitely makes a difference in the way you think about things. And maybe that's what's going on there. Either way, don't mean to over psychoanalyze the guy. I'm just happy to see that maybe he's enjoying things a little more and showing that on the podium. It was good race. Cooper, Webb, good rebound for him. I think he got kind of a little bit lucky, but a third is still great. He's still second in the title. It's still a good battle at the front. I will say that the cream definitely is rising to the top. Some of these guys, are starting to break away a little bit. It was a really tight battle for many rounds, which kind of mixing things up, but I think you're seeing the guys like Kenny and Eli, Cooper kind of find a way to always be in the first, front runners, and that's eventually going to separate this field. I don't expect to see 10 guys within 10 points at, round 8 or 9. It just doesn't ever happen that way. So it's bound to happen eventually, and I think you're starting to see that a little bit now. Adam, man, AC, it's so funny. Last year, at round 2, after he was so fast, I was like, oh my God, he's going to win a race. He's going to win 2 or 3 this year. He's going to just kick ass. And it just didn't happen. Rookie mistakes and what have you. And this is year 2. Once again, he's super fast. He showed it up front. He was up front for a while, and he just can't seem to keep it together for the race. And it's starting to worry me a little bit. I guess that was kind of his MO in the 250s too, but I thought by now he would be able to put it together. I mean, I don't think he's going to turn out to never win a race, but I thought he would be closer to at least getting that first win by now. Last night, he's up front, and in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, this isn't going to last. It's just, it's become like a foregone conclusion now. He's going to drop the front end, or he's going to cartwheel, or something's going to go on. The kid is super fast. I hope he figures it out. I'd love to see him be a title contender too. You'd hope in year 2, certainly by year 3. I'm sure Kawasaki's hoping that, because I don't know how much longer Eli's going to be going with this. I got to think he's going to figure it out, but it is getting a little disappointing that Adam isn't able to, just keep it together longer at this point. But for whatever reason, he's still fast and got on TV, and that was definitely good. I would say there was a great rebound by Zach. Zach Osburn is putting himself in some really tough positions this year. This year, he's had these coming from the back of the pack at several rounds, and last night he was on fire. He kind of jumped the gate a little bit. I did that one time. It's really a bonehead maneuver, but I think it's happened to all of us who raced. And then he had to come through the pack, but I thought he was going to get a podium at one point. He looked like he was just a man on a mission. Kind of stalled out there at the end and wasn't able to get all the way to third, but great ride for him. He may be one of the fastest guys this year, in terms of actual passes on the track, but the results haven't come together for him in that way. I'm hoping he gets at least a win or 2 this year, and at least tries to make it more of a title fight. What is going on with Jason Anderson? This has to be disappointing. This guy's a Supercross champion. I got to think Rockstar Husky certainly would hope he'd be challenging for at least a podium at some point, but it hasn't come together. So still early in the year. Obviously, there's a lot of ups and downs, with Marvin, Muskie, and all these guys are having these kind of wild swings in the results. But, I mean, at least Barsha, who had another tough night last night, has had a win and been up front. Unfortunately, Barsha is kind of expected to have these wild swings in his results. He's never been Mr. Consistent. Anderson is being consistent, but consistently mediocre. I have to think that his employers were certainly hoping for more, and I certainly thought he'd be more close to the front, at least a time or two. But Barsha, as I said, had a tough night. He did win the Bruce Lee Award for best karate kick on Mookie's bike to get it off. I thought that was pretty funny, but it's tough. Obviously, at least he's got up front. He's got that gas on TV quite a bit this year, so the TLD team has to be happy for that. But it hasn't exactly worked out, and him staying at the front and being a contender. I mean, I have to think this title is going to come down to the same guys. You're talking about Kenny, Eli, and Cooper are really the big 3, and they're showing that now. And I got to think, 4 or 5 rounds from now, they'll be far and away ahead of everybody else. In the 250 class, it was a great night for Colt Nichols. I really am thinking that this might be Colt's year. I mean, Colt, I don't think in most people's mind they think, okay, here's the guy, like Austin Faulkner. They think, oh, it's his year, he's going to win. And that Star Yamaha is a great motorcycle, but most people probably thinking of Christian Craig or somebody else on the team that might be the top guy. But Cole, he's been really fast the last couple of years. Just had things kind of go sideways on him, and this might be his year. He was very impressive. He led the whole race, never really was challenged, and let all the crap go on behind him. And that's what you need to do. You're not going to get every hole shot. You're not going to have every race go your way. But when you have that opportunity, you put your head down, you win, and that's what makes you a champion. You salvage the days when things don't go well, and you take advantage of them when things do, and that's exactly what he's doing. Jet Lawrence, exciting as always. Love that kid style. He got a little bit of frontier justice in the heat race after taking out Mosman last week. Mosman gave him a little payback, although I suppose he was lucky that it was in the heat, not in the main. But that what comes around goes around, and I guess Jet will figure that out pretty quickly. And then in the main, he got another bad start. Looked like he missed a shift. Came through the pack. He was, much like Zach Osburn, just on fire out there. So fun to watch. And I really think he should have had a podium there, but then, Christian Craig had a complete brain fart. I don't know what he was thinking. I'm fine with, obviously, you're going for the podium. You're going for the title, too. Christian Craig has the red plate. I understand that. I'm not saying that you don't need to be aggressive, try and find a way to block, but where he did it, I just don't see where there was any good outcome there. It was an idiotic move, total bonehead maneuver, ends up taking them both out, costing them a podium. It was just a stupid move by Craig. Christian is a kid. He's not even a kid. I mean, he's pretty old now. He's been in the class quite a while, but he shouldn't have known better. It was just kind of a stupid move, and I was not happy with it at the time. I am a big Jet Lawrence fan, but that aside, I just thought it was a dumb maneuver and a bad place to pull that move, and it really cost him. I think he went back to 4th or 5th after, maybe 5th, I guess, after that crash. It was definitely not, one of those situations where he let his emotions get the best of him there, and I think a lot of people probably weren't happy with that move. Certainly online, I saw they weren't happy with it. It was just dumb. I mean, it wasn't like the most egregious, break your leg takeout in the history of motocross or anything, but it was just a dumb place to pull it. So, other guys to be impressed with, Joe Shimoda, he is really impressing. I mean, Mitch has to be so pleased. I mean, last year he was okay. I mean, Joe Shimoda, not an Austin Faulkner, not one of these phenoms you think, oh, he's going to come out and kick butt. But he is proving to be very solid this year. It's not like the field is super deep, but that being said, he has been there every round, consistency, and that's what wins titles in the end. I mean, he just needs to get a little more speed there, and if he can keep that consistency, he might be a title contender next year. I was thinking about this, and the Japanese riders, really, I'd say the elite is probably Akira Watanabe, who won a world title in the 70s, probably the fastest Japanese rider of all time, because you got to figure, a guy like Akira Narita, yes, he's won far more titles in terms of the number of them, but he's a big fish in a small pond. The Japanese nationals really are, they don't really have international competition as fast as Narita is. I don't know that he was going to come here and win a Supercross title, certainly. He raced in a few rounds and stuff, but Shimoda, if he gets a little more speed, he might be the fastest Japanese rider since Watanabe in the 70s, and that's saying something, because there have been some good riders over the years, but I'm really impressed with the kid, and his English has gotten so much better. I mean, within a year or so, it's like exponentially better. I tweeted last night that his English is 130% better than my Japanese. It's really impressive, and the kid is doing really well, considering the whole Faulkner situation, how disappointing that had to be for Mitch. I think, Shimoda has to be the feel-good story for them for the year. Definitely going much better than I would have expected. Very impressive. So, overall, I'd say Indianapolis was a great first event. It was awesome track. I'll be curious to see what they do to change things up this Tuesday. Again, a short turnaround, so I don't know how much, they're going to really totally revamp stuff, but I hope it's another interesting and exciting race to watch. The dirt, as I said, looked good. It was a fun event to watch. I love having Supercross back. It's so great. It's outside snowing right now here, and it's good to have something to do while you're sitting at home and chilling out in the wintertime here, at least on the East Coast where it's cold. And Supercross always gives me something to look forward to on the weekends and sometimes during the week now with this crazy schedule. So what'd y'all think? I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments below as to what you thought of the event there in Indy. I thought it was a super fun race to watch and a great night of racing. So let's hope we get some more. So until we meet again, this is Tony Blazier with Motocross Vault. Keep the rubber side down. Peace.